my previous AI videos, I've copped a little bit of criticism in the comments, which is fair criticism, that I'm not super experienced with my prompt making. So my results often aren't that great, but so much more can be achieved with AI. Lexica.art is an entire suppository. Is that the word? That's not the thing you put up your butt, is it? It is what you put up your butt. It's a repository, not a suppository. Great, how do you recover from that? It really is, even just going to this website, mind-blowing. The kinds of things people can achieve with the right approach. But before we do it with guidance, as usual, I like to do it unguided because I just want to see what I or the layperson might come up with if trying to come up with Pokemon. And we have 3 AIs we're going to be playing with today. Let's give them all the same prompt. A fire type Pokemon with 4 legs and a cute cloudy tail that resembles a egg in the style of Pokemon, cartoony. Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad. Stable diffusion. Again, that's not bad. If someone came up to me, showed me their sketchbook and said, hey, look at my Pokemon fan art. These are my OCs. I'd be like, yeah, they're sick. Well done. This is super believable. Oh, and my writing isn't good either. I wrote resembles a egg. I guess that doesn't matter so much, but in this case, it's more egg than Pokemon. So you get different results with the different generators, but this is like really basic stuff. And I can see why people are saying, hey, you ain't so good at the prompts thing when this is some people's frame of reference. And in some of the summarized help that my team's put together for me, a general format that they suggest works is a type of picture of main subject, comma, style cues. General is better. So ferocious rather than baring teeth or growling or drooling. If you can create a general term that implies that sort of attitude, you get a good result. So let's restructure my sentence here. A cute fire type Pokemon that resembles a 4-legged egg and has a comma cloudy tail. And I literally replace in the style of Pokemon cartoony with award-winning manga Pokemon. Oh my God. That is actually a huge difference, like huge. It's this one that for me is the winner, like out of that batch. So let's paste in our Pokemon. There they are. There you go, fire type. All right, so this is Ignitch, short for ignition and match. Ignition, match, Ignitch. 40 HP. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now burned. 10 damage. Ignitch, a fire type Pokemon from the Central Business District of Melbourne, it would seem. That is a solid start with very little experience under my belt with just a few prompt tweaks. So let's do this in steps and let's break away from our fire type Pokemon. Let's do something new. A water type Pokemon with a silhouette of a standing meerkat. Its body is made of water from the waist down and is wearing a life jacket. Its head is in the shape of a buoy in the style of Pokemon, cartoony. All right, I've tried to be more descriptive than simple and clear. Ooh, I mean, it doesn't really fit my prompt. It looks like it's wearing a baby carrier. Oh God. I have to do this now. Hydro Me. Heal 20 damage from one of your Pokemon. That's it. That's all the Pokemon does. He just comes in and gives you a drink of fresh, cool water to hydrate you. Look, the results are lackluster. I want to see if I can hone in on this. For imitating art styles, slight changes can make a big difference. Instead of by Hayao Miyazaki, you can change it to art by Hayao Miyazaki or illustration by Hayao Miyazaki. Including the words digital art as a modifier is good in 99% of cases, and using screenshot from, in this case, Pokemon, can be a good way to imitate cartoon styles. Now, Ken Sugimori, like, he is the OG Pokemon designer. That's not to say he's designed all of them, but he's the primary character designer for Pokemon. So let's rework our daily prompt with this new advice. Water from the waist down and a plastic orange head. Illustration by Ken Sugimori, digital art, award-winning Pokemon art. Look at that immediately! Oh my God! Look at this one! I love that so much. That's so cool. Water from the waist down. I mean, that's technically water from the waist down. It has not interpreted, like I think when I say that to any one of you, you understand I mean physically from the waist down, they are made of water. These are good though. I want it to do what I'm asking though, so I'm just gonna keep going here. I think doing this in real time is gonna bog down the process. We're only gonna get a few. Let's time lapse and speed forward a little bit, and I'm going to summarize what has worked best to get what I want. So I tried to be more specific about what body parts were made of what and in what colors. I tried changing Pokemon art to Pokemon card art and adding in TCG art. I think that helped generally to get the style to shift where I wanted it to. And it's at this point I also realized I'd been misspelling head as herd. So that's obviously gonna prevent AI from knowing what I want. I removed asking for a plastic orange head and just kept it as an orange head. I think specifying the material is probably irrelevant in this kind of style. Played around with punctuation. There were a couple of really cool options, one of which was cropped out, and so I tried using the out painting to finish the artwork, and it works really well. So even if you get prompts that look like they're sort of cropped out in really weird ways, thanks to outpainting, you can complete your piece with options. It's really effective. It wasn't exactly right though. So I went back to my prompt making, tried removing standing like a meerkat, assuming that that was leaning too much into a visual of a standing meerkat and not letting me have legs made of water. Eventually when I got something I liked, I tried editing out the legs to make the legs look like they're made of water, and it just wouldn't work for some reason. So I went back to the drawing board and eventually came up with something really cool. I actually replaced the Pokemon prompt at the start with dog blob with legs made of water. So basically described a weird creature, but because of the art style and then the Pokemon specification later in the prompt, it sort of kept it in the Pokemon style. I ended up with this weird cloudy headed thing and edited that to sort of say a smooth round head, and it's given me these options, and I like this guy. This is a solid Pokemon. Oh, it's great, this is cool. Oh my God, that's such an improvement from Hydromi. I'm gonna cheat a little bit. I'm gonna copy a screenshot from Pokemon and just expand and pop that in here. Now I can put my new Pokemon in here, crop out the white background and reframe it. And there we have my new invented water type Pokemon. I really like this one. It's like a dog water puppy thing. Water puppy. War pup. Goo boy. He's a goo boy. Tail splash. Demand to be told who the good buoy is. You have to admit, this really works. Like, this is really good. You can make a whole generation of Pokemon with AI, believably. Can you make their evolutions? I'm gonna create a set of Pokemon that evolve from a starter into the 3 full stages of its Pokemon. We've done fire, we've done water, stands to reason that we're gonna do grass type. So far, I'm very impressed. So buckle up. Let's go catch him. Now I had to start off with research. So far it's just been whatever I get with very little guidance. This time I needed to pick some visual directions that I wanted to get to, which will leave AI less room to improvise. Now when looking at all of the different Pokemon starters, obviously particularly referencing the grass type, they all had something that they're anchored to. For example, Bulbasaur, Venusaur, and Ivysaur are all sort of related to that pod and vine combination. So I decided I'd go in the vein of a houseplant or pot plant. Using terracotta pot as a reference, I wanted the basic type of this 3-stage evolution to be a really cute pot with a face on the pot itself and a little bit of hair in the form of grass or the plant. It was enough of a challenge to try and get the face to appear on the pot and not the plant, and keeping the style as Pokemon starter-esque as possible. I have to say, at least for this exercise in particular, I found DALL-E consistently produced the most aesthetically compelling results, especially in matching styles. In the end, there was this random cute little pot figure that popped up that was pretty much perfect. Using the outpainting to finish off the rest of the image and make sure I had a full picture to work with, then I started a separate prompt to build a nice background. Using Miyazaki as a style prompt and a watercolor style with an indoor room washed with golden lights and warm colors, I ended up with a really nice room that I expanded without painting and used as the background for my card. The background and the Pokemon combined made for a really polished and compelling starter Pokemon. This is a really strong start. I decided to name him Pocotta for pot, plant, and terracotta. Onto our stage 1 evolution, and this is going to be a bit harder to get specific results. Mainly because the way I'm going about it, I'm trying to mix organic elements of plants or vines and leaves and all that with geometric elements I need to incorporate the pot. And it turns out this is really hard to get any of the AIs to understand how I imagine this would work. As a result, I tried to strip back the details and start off with the basics. Can I get the pot right? Even that seemed hard all of a sudden. I had a specific pot shape in mind, so I tried to get DALL-E to make the shape pot I wanted, and then tried to tell it to do that type of pot upside down. It seemed really hard to do something that to me seems such a basic idea. But I pushed through and actually started to get my hopes up a little bit when I drew a terrible silhouette in MS Paint and put it in Stable Diffusion with the picture I drew. And it was sort of understanding it, but it wasn't expanding or giving me any sort of detail or quality. It was sort of stuck in that limbo of almost results. In the end, I went back to DALL-E 2 and just brute forced once I had a prompt that I thought was getting sort of what I wanted, just ripped into prompt after prompt after prompt. The styles in Pokemon cards can vary quite a lot, but the trick with what I'm trying to do is create a cohesive design evolution. Even though the style might change, it's most important that the proportions are consistent with an evolution, small, medium, large, and that the design elements are cohesive and move in a logical way, from a pot to a semi-pot planty creature to something later that's a little more expanded upon in that direction. Eventually I find something that I quite liked and I edited the features to get it closer to what I wanted. The editing tools in DALL-E are cooler than I've given credit to. Being able to give these crystalline blue eyes to the character to make sure it fits that first evolution stage, expanding the top and bottom to make sure I have a full character, and of course outpainting a new background to the environment of my Pokemon card, this time going with a pencil aesthetic to give a clear visual distinction in the style between the two while trying to emphasize the design elements that are flowing through. This is Plagro, for plant and grow. He's pretty cool. I reckon he's following nicely from the first one. Now it's time to move on to our final stage of evolution. I started with the same prompt, but this time added very large to the start of the prompt. Really didn't give me much. And I went from very large to just large and tried to specify terracotta pots as armor. And honestly, I can't even remember how this all went. It was a blur. It was all over the place. I did try and go back to Midjourney and Stable Diffusion a few more times, but it wasn't working in terms of tying in with what I'd done. So I just stuck to DALL-E 2, bashed out many generations in the hope that I would strike gold. Eventually, I did strike gold. I came across a foundation that I thought with a little reworking might be perfect. And I was right! And the edit tools, again, are amazing. Outpainting to show the top and the bottoms, the ability to reshape the features of like the eyes or the face and get something that looks a little more cohesive with the previous characters and also fits the Pokemon style, while specifying that this Pokemon is standing in terracotta pots to add that element back in that was otherwise missing. It enabled me to create a final variation that felt like a big version of the previous two Pokemon and had enough in common with them to feel like they're all part of the same evolution family. I was really proud of this result, so much that I felt like I wanted to show more of the artwork. And what better way to do that than on a V card? No more plain Pokemon card for you. Using the Celebi V card as a foundation, I wiped it all clean and made space for my Pokemon, who I decided to name Viant. Viant. Vine Giant is the idea behind that one. So I reckon they look cool. Don't know about the name. Here they are, all laid out one after the other. Pacotta, Plagro, and Viant. Okay, look, maybe AI could come up with better Pokemon names than I can, but I went into this wondering if you could make good Pokemon designs using AI, and the answer is yes. But not only can you come up with them sort of accidentally, you can figure out the design language of an entire evolution of Pokemon and come up with something that works. I could have spent hundreds of dollars commissioning these, but I didn't. It cost me about 10 bucks. That's insane. But this is where people who are anti-AI art get those funny, uncomfortable feelings in their tummy and say, this isn't good for art. But it's happening. It is happening whether you like it or not. And I like this. That doesn't mean I don't like art, and that doesn't mean there won't always be a place for artists to create awesome designs. But I am inspired by these creations in the same way that I would be inspired by other artists' creations. I didn't make these. I didn't make the things other artists do to inspire me. I reckon this is cool. I hope you reckon this is cool. And if you reckon this is cool, hit like and subscribe for more fun with art and creativity. Let me know in the comments what you want to see me do, and if you feel good or bad about AI, maybe expand on that a little bit. Are you anti-AI art? Are you angry at me for making this video? If you are, subscribe and hit like, that'll show me. Thanks for watching, this was awesome. Until next time, I'll see you later.